What does it mean to be conditioned? In this video, I will talk about what it means to be conditioned and how this mental state is very subtle and easy to fall for as humans, and how in trading you are conditioned to make the same mistakes from the moment you got interested in this business, and how you could be aware and then free yourself from it. So stay with me. In Trading with Logic, when we talk about a conditioned person, we refer to people who are attracted to this business and who are conditioned with negative habits that prevent them from making money in trading without being aware of it. It is important to understand that the conditioned state can also occur in many other aspects of our life. But let's see in more detail how it is that an individual can be conditioned and that a person can also be positively or negatively conditioned. For the last 20 years, a professor of neuroscience at the University of Cambridge has carried out experiments that have revolutionized the understanding of how science, rewards, and habits interact. In 1980, Wolfram Schultz was part of a group of scientists who studied monkey brains while learning to perform certain tasks, such as pulling levers or opening clasps. The goal of this group was to find out which parts of the brain were responsible for new actions. One day they observed that some monkeys they worked with loved apple juice and others grape juice, and so on. And they began to wonder what was going on inside those monkeys' heads, why different rewards affect the brain in different ways. They began a series of experiments to figure out how rewards work at the neurological level. Among the monkeys was one whose name was Julio, who had a thin electrode inserted into his brain that allowed Schultz to observe neuronal activity in real time. One day, Schultz put Julio in a chair in a dimly lit room and turned on the computer monitor. Julio's job was to lower a lever every time color figures like yellow spirals, red squiggles, and blue lines appeared on the screen. If Julio lowered the lever when the figure appeared, a drop of blackberry juice fell from a tube hanging on the ceiling to Julio's mouth. Julio liked blackberry juice very much. At first, Julio was slightly interested in what was happening on the screen. He spent most of his time trying to get off his chair. But once the first dose of juice arrived, Julio concentrated on the monitor, and the monkey began to understand that through dozens of repetitions, that the figures on the monitor were guides to a routine, that is, lowering the lever, that resulted in the reward of blackberry juice. This is exactly the same when you come to this business trying to figure out how to make money using some classic forms or pattern or anything that has to do with an idea or belief of what it is supposed to happen. You see the forms, pull the lever as a monkey, expecting for a reward, and money is like the dose of blackberry juice. Julio began to stare at the monitor screen with laser intensity. He was no longer trying to get out from his chair. When a yellow scribble appeared, he pulled the lever. When a blue line flashed, he hit it. And when the juice arrived, Julio licked his lips very happily. As Schultz monitored the activity within Julio's brain, he observed that there was a pattern emerging. When Julio received his reward, his brain activity rose rapidly, suggesting that he was experiencing happiness. This is how the neurological transcription looked. Schultz put Julio through the same experiments over and over by recording neurological responses each time. When Julio received his juice, that is to say, a reward, the pattern appeared on the computer connected to the probe in the monkey's head. Gradually, from the neurological perspective, Julio's behavior had become a habit. What was most interesting to Schultz was how things changed as the experiment proceeded. The more the monkey practiced the behavior, the more the habit became stronger and stronger. Julio's brain began to anticipate the blackberry juice. The probes began to register the pattern of, I will get a reward, the instant Julio saw the shapes on the screen, even before the juice actually arrived. In other words, the shapes on the monitor had become a signal not only to pull the lever, but also for a response to the pleasure within the monkey's brain. Julio began to wait for his reward as soon as he saw the yellow spirals and the red squiggles. So Schultz adjusted the experiment. Previously, Julio had received the juice as soon as he pulled the lever. But now, sometimes the juice didn't come at all, even if Julio carried out the experiment correctly. Or it came late, or the juice arrived but diluted, not so sweet. When the juice did not arrive, or was delayed, or came diluted, Julio became angry and made noises of discontent, and within the brain of Julio, Schultz observed that a new pattern emerged, the craving. When Julio anticipated the juice but did not receive it, an associated neurological pattern with desire and frustration exploded inside his head. When Julio saw the sign, he began to anticipate the joy and pleasure of the taste of the juice. But if the juice did not arrive, that joy will become a craving that, if not satisfied, will drive Julio towards anger and depression. Researchers in other laboratories have found similar patterns. Other monkeys were trained to anticipate juice when a figure appeared on the screen. So the researchers were trying to distract them. They opened the door to the laboratory so that the monkeys could get out and play with other monkeys. They put food in the corner so that the monkeys could eat and abandon the experiment. For those monkeys that had not developed strong habits, the distractions worked. They got out of their chairs and left the room and did not return. They hadn't learned to crave for juice. However, once the monkey had developed a habit, once its brain anticipated the reward, distractions did not appeal to them. The animal sat looking at the monitor, pulling the lever again and again, despite the offer of food or going out to play. The anticipation and the feeling of longing were so overwhelming that the monkey were glued to the chairs and looking at the screen, in the same way that a compulsive gambler continues to play with a slot machine even after having lost. This explains why habits are so powerful. They create neurological anxiety. Most of the time, these cravings emerge gradually, and it is very easy not to be aware that they exist, and we can be blinded to their influence. But as long as we associate signals with certain rewards, subconscious cravings emerge in our brains that develop a habit. So Julio learned that the appearance of forms meant that it was time to pull the lever to execute the routine. So he pulled the lever, and as a result, Julio received the drop of blackberry juice. That is basic learning. The habit only emerged once Julio had anxiety about the juice, once he saw the sign. Once that anxiety existed, Julio acted automatically. He simply followed a habit. This is the way new habits are created or induced, putting together a sign, a routine, and a reward. And then the craving is cultivated so the craving can propel the cycle, a losing cycle for you as a trader. I hope this experiment and what happened to Julio and other monkeys has sounded familiar to you, since I have constantly talked about the industry and how it conditions the mind of people who come to this business. Also, with this explanation, I hope that is clear for you. How is it that certain behaviors can be induced without you even realizing it? And that if you are just beginning in this activity, how important it is that you do not fall for this conditioned state. Don't allow to yourself the same that happened to Julio. The moment you learn a form or a process based on an ideology or a belief, you will try to pull the lever or click the mouse believing that something special causes the reward. And you will believe that you just have to memorize and wait to pull the lever and obtain your blackberry juice or money without being aware that the juice flow is controlled by the experimenter and not by the knowledge you have learned when you started in this business. You have to be aware that you only accepted what others say and began to study classic forms, figures, concepts, and theories in order to give meaning to the market. Just as the monkey Julio did. Realize how conditioned you are waiting for those patterns and those ideas to appear in the chart, and how you become frustrated when instead of winning you end up losing, or the price does not move as fast as expected, etc. Just like the monkeys fell into the habit and conditioned behavior, also you can continue to be committed and blinded in doing different combinations of the same things in the same way just because you have been conditioned. And I ask you, why you think that more than 95% of people lose in trading, and yet most of the information is based on the same concepts and ideas? Have you wondered that maybe most people get conditioned from the very beginning so that they get trapped into a vicious cycle? Why would a very profitable career be offered to the public without preparing an advantage over them first? You have to be aware that you have been induced a habit, the habit of doing certain actions only at certain times, when in reality you can enter to buy or sell at any time. You pull the lever or press the button from the computer due to an institutionalized and popular concepts that are based on the same things and found everywhere. But the ones who have control of the use or money controls when it comes out and when it doesn't, and how long it takes to get out, while you are conditioned to crave the money once you detect and the secret or special patterns. You pull the lever when certain scenarios happen, but you do not control the use. You're smarter than Julio to realize that you must break this state of mind. Do you think that it is possible that the industry that attracts the retail trader might condition it to behave in a certain way favorable to the business who are themselves? Also, this cycle that takes you to look for symbols and signs and makes you carry out a routine in order to get a reward sometimes, it is imposed. It is created by someone external to you. That is why, as an individual, you become negatively conditioned so that a business model against you can be carried out. The negatively conditioned person will always try to solve and satisfy their craving of making money, trying to enter the market in the same way because it is supposed to work and provide a reward, isn't it? And like Julio, when there is this craving and need to find those patterns, convergences, in order to find the right signal, you waste more and more time and money because you become more and more emotional. If you continue to be conditioned negatively and follow what 99% preaches, you will continue to have expectations that one thing happens because of the other. That if you do some correct analysis, then certain behavior must happen. But being conditioned is not necessarily bad. We can positively condition ourselves to reach goals and achievements that will otherwise be impossible or lucky shots, but we have to understand the difference. As this image says, if an egg is broken from the outside, a life ends. But if an egg is broken from within, then a life begins. Therefore, the great personal achievements begin from within. That's why trading is more than 99% mental. The problem is that the majority is conditioned from the outside by an external influence, by external agents, by an industry that attracted them to lose money. Most of the people are doing what everyone is doing just because it is easier and feels safer to do and repeat what everybody talks about. Therefore, you need to be awakened by someone that is not conditioned anymore, that is free from the trading ideology, someone who is free from that conditioned state of mind, so that you can get out too. So then you can condition yourself positively, understanding the 4 principles that all methods, strategies, and systems have: price, time, probabilities, and manipulation. Once you understand those principles, you can create objective, clear, and simple rules to condition your behavior or become disciplined. But now this new behavior comes from the inside, not from the outside. You create and internalize those principles with logic. They are not imposed or induced by me, some person, idea, or concept. Trading is not about right or wrong, but about what you want and can handle regarding risk. In trading with logic, you will understand the financial markets based on principles and not from subjective validations. Objectivity, not subjectivity. Free from beliefs and dogmas. Subscribe to our channel. In another video, we will talk more about how to condition yourself positively and why it is important to condition yourself so you efficiently run a personalized trading system. Remember, the way we create a habit cycle is by having a signal, having a routine, and having a reward. I invite you to be more aware of what you do and ask yourself why you do it. The vast majority of what we do daily are nothing more than habits, and often ingrained in us by external ideas and beliefs, which we are sometimes unaware. Pay attention and realize that the habits that affect us the most are induced by external people and circumstances. And the good habits that have helped you to progress are because you had to consciously change those behaviors to then improve and achieve certain personal goals. When you know how to discard all that is illusion of symbols and beliefs in trading and focus on the facts, it will help you to radically improve your results as trader. Remember, contact us at tradingwithlogic@gmail.com. Visit our page tradingwithlogic.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if this video helped you in any way, please give it a thumbs up, and remember, trade with logos, trade with logic. See you later.